Hello and welcome to my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. Today we're looking at some new cards which are coming out of Yu-Gi-Oh Rush Duels. There are going to be 2 new cards and there are going to be 3 reprints. Drilling Mandrake is a level 7 Earth attribute machine type effect monster with 1700 attack and 2000 defense. The requirement: during a main phase that you normal or special summon this card, and the effect is change face down defense position monsters on your opponent's field to face up attack position, up to the number of face up machine type monsters on your field. The original attack of the monsters changed to face up attack position by this effect becomes 0 until the end of this turn. The benefits of this card are it helps to manipulate your opponent's different position monsters. So if they're in defense position, typically they'll have fewer attack points. This means more likely than not you're going to be able to run over those monsters with your own. It also doesn't depend on just purely your machine type monsters, it can be your opponent's. So if you're facing off against a mirror match, it's very effective. You can use your opponent's monsters to trigger off this effect as well. And they also become 0 attack points, so you can actually maximize the amount of damage you do. It's potentially the same as doing direct damage because there is no damage calculation that needs to be gone. It's very useful for that, but it can be limiting in that it's only face down defense position, so it doesn't matter if they're face up defense position, then they won't be triggered off by this effect. It's a very simplistic effect because it has to happen during your main phase when you normal or special summon this card, so there is a disadvantage. You either have to use it absolutely when you need to, or you have the option of just bringing this card out and just using it when you have to. The other concern is it does have very few attack and defense points for a level 7 monster and can be easily beaten up considering it needs 2 tributes to bring it out. Ultimate Flag Tough Striker is a level 7 light attribute machine type normal monster with 2500 attack and 1600 defense. It's simply a beatstick type of monster. It's to the higher end of level 7 monsters. It's fine because it does the job. It is just a massive beatstick, but it can be undermined very easily by more and more of these destruction based effects. Lightning Braver is a level 3 light attribute thunder type effect monster with 1200 attack and 700 defense. The requirement: you can activate this by shuffling 3 monsters from your graveyard back into the deck, and the effect is to choose one face down defense position monster your opponent controls and change it to face up defense position. Then all face up monsters your opponent controls lose 800 defense until the end of the turn. The purpose of this card is it's able to reduce your opponent's defense position monsters, so if they have quite a few of those, you're able to just wipe out their defense to a point where some of your other monsters can attack over that card. The other thing is, considering that it remains in defense position, you do have the benefit of wiping out the monster that you actually target from this effect, so that's also quite useful, and the requirement isn't too difficult to meet. Shuffling 3 monsters from the graveyard back into the deck, it's like having a mini pot of avarice. Beast Gear Secret Art Primal Fist is a trap card with the requirement: when an opponent's monster declares an attack targeting your face up levels 7 to 9 Beast Warrior, Fiend or Machine type monsters, the effect is to change the attacking monster to face up defense position. Then if you change it to Dragon, a Spellcaster or a Fairy type monster to defense position by this effect, destroy 1 spell or trap card on your opponent's field. You can argue this is like a hero barrier or a semi type of negate attack because it just changes the attack position of the monster to defense position. That prevents them from attacking unless they can somehow change their own monster back into attack position that turn with a card effect. It does have to happen against specific targets, so you have to be running either a Beast Warrior, a Fiend or a Machine type deck, and it can only be activated when your opponent makes an attack declaration. If they get rid of this card before the attack, then it's useless. It can't trigger as a response. Second problem is, to get the secondary effect to destroy spell and trap cards, you do have to have targeted a Dragon, a Spellcaster or a Fairy. So not only does your deck have to be very specific, your opponent's has to as well. And the final card is Join Tech Bumper. This is a normal trap card with the requirement: when your opponent's monster declares a direct attack, you can activate this by shuffling 3 machine type normal monsters from your graveyard back into the deck. The effect is to choose up to 3 attack position monsters your opponent controls and destroy them. This is very similar to Radiant Mirror Force because that targets 3 attack position monsters your opponent controls. It wipes them all out, but the only concern of this card is it's quite limited to what you can use it on. Considering that you have to run a machine type deck and they have to be normal monsters that you have to bring back from the graveyard into the deck, meeting the requirements of this effect can only be useful in certain situations. It's decent, but I think it should have been more generic. Overall, I think these cards are okay, and my favourite would have to be the Join Tech bumper. I don't necessarily think some of these cards are going to see the light of day very soon, especially I'd have to say that Drilling Mandrill, unless you are building a strategy around that. If you guys like the content, I'd love for you to subscribe. I always love hearing any feedback you have. Put those in the comments down below, and have a nice day.